How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is Plug-in Peter. Today we're going to talk about Waves reverbs. We're going to start out with TrueVerb, which is one of the first reverbs that they ever came out with. In my opinion, not one of the best sounding reverbs, but it is usable in some certain areas. We've got actually some great presets here, and that's usually what I just stick with. I don't usually steer clear from the presets. I usually just find one that I like. I like the Estate Bathroom. It's really cool. I like the Snare Trap. I like the Short Vocal Plate. I like the New York Plate, and I like the Tight New York Room. Now, if I'm doing something really churchy sounding, or if I've got a really distant vocal, for example, like Madness Song by Muse, where you can hear him singing in the background, the Cathedral reverb is perfect for that. One thing I do recommend when using this reverb, to me it's unusable if you do not disable the early reflections. When you have the early reflections on, it's unusable to me. It does not sound real or natural at all. So I would highly recommend you always disable the early reflection right here. Once that's disabled, we can crank it down or crank it up. The lower down this is, the lower down this is, the less reverb we're going to have, more dry signal. The higher this is, the more reverb and the less dry signal. TrueVerb, I'm going to bypass that. RVerb. Now, RVerb is one of the greatest sounding reverbs, I think, that Waves has ever created. It's fantastic. It's very usable in a lot of ways. It also has some very good presets. I like the rooms, I like the halls, and I like the plates. I mean, you go through each one of these and you've got several different options. We could be here all day. One of the things that I recommend, once you find a plate or a hall that you like, we're going to use a drum plate right here. You go to the wet dry signal. 100 is almost always way too wet unless you've got it on some kind of an aux or a bus and you're running a dry signal to it. If you've got it right on your track, you're going to really need to crank that down. And I'm talking all the way down to around 20. Otherwise, it's going to be drowned in reverb. Now, pre-delay is something I like to always mess with. I usually like to add a little bit. These two right here, in my opinion, for me, as an engineer, are the ones I like to toggle with the most. The pre-delay and the wet dry signal. That's RVerb, and it sounds fantastic. I'm going to bypass that.